So now the development of ventricles. It is very simple as compared to that of atria. We should know that between the two ventricles in the heart, there is the interventricular septum. It has two parts. The one is the membranous and the other is the muscular part. For muscular part, what happens from the floor of the ventricles, there is the tissue invagination, the endocardium, the mesenchyme, and the neural crest cells. The septa grows inwards towards the endocardial cushion. This part actually forms the muscular part of the interventricular septum. So from here, the muscular part of the interventricular septum will form. For the membranous part, there will be a tissue outgrowth from the endocardial cushion. It will fuse with the muscular part, and the two ridges, the right and left bulbous ridges, which are from the right and left wall of the bulbous cordis, they will fuse with these ridges and will form the membranous part of the ventricular septum. Now the fate of the sinus venosus. You know that there are two horns of sinus venosus, the right and left. The left horn of the sinus venosus will form the coronary sinus, which is present behind the heart, draining most of the parts of the heart. Fine. So the left horn will form the coronary sinus, whereas the right horn will incorporate into the right atrium and will form the posterior wall of the right atrium. We know that the posterior wall of the right atrium is smooth because it is derived from sinus venosus, and that's why we call the posterior wall as sinus venarum. In an adult, after the baby is born, the posterior wall is smooth, so we call it sinus venarum, whereas the anterior wall is muscular because it is formed from the primordial right atrium. Primordial right atrium means this right atrium. This part will form the anterior wall, and this part will incorporate and will form the posterior wall. And the difference between the two is basically shown by crista terminalis inside, that is a long muscular ridge separating the anterior and posterior wall of the right atrium, and outside there is sulcus terminalis, all about the gross anatomy. So about left atrium, it is all smooth. Why? Because most part of the left atrium is basically from the fusion of part of the sinus venosus, and there is basically incorporation of the pulmonary vein. There is a vein, pulmonary vein, carrying the deoxygenated blood from the lungs, and it drains it into the left atrium, and then this pulmonary vein is incorporated inside the left atrium and forming all the smooth part of the left atrium, and somehow sinus venosus contributes, but major contribution is from the pulmonary vein. And the tributaries of pulmonary vein are basically the four. These four will now become the major pulmonary veins, the right and the left pulmonary veins. Fine. So four pulmonary veins are actually the tributary of the pulmonary vein, which have become incorporated into the left atrium. So this is all about the sinus venosus. Now the last one what we are going to discuss is the outflow tract, means the development of bulbous cordis and truncal arteriosus. What happens along with the development of ventricles and atria? There are the formation of truncal and bulbar ridges. What happens from their walls? The mesenchyme, the neural crest cells, the endocardium proliferates and results in the formation of truncal and bulbar ridges. These truncal and bulbar ridges will fuse together in the center to form the aorticopulmonary septum, which will separate the aorta and the pulmonary trunk. This aorticopulmonary septum undergoes spiralization. It undergoes spiralization like this. This spiralization causes the pulmonary trunk to be anterior and on the right side of that of aorta. This line, this arrow shows the track of aorta, while this arrow shows the track of pulmonary trunk. This is the aorticopulmonary septum after spiralization. First of all, there are truncal and bulbar ridges fusing together, forming aorticopulmonary septum, and then there is spiralization resulting in the pulmonary pulmonary trunk to be on the right and anterior to that of aorta. If you see here, this is the right side, this is the left side. The pulmonary trunk is on the right side and the aorta on the left side, and the aorta is basically a little behind because pulmonary trunk a little anterior to that of aorta due to the spiralization of the aorticopulmonary wall, and this then divides into right and left pulmonary artery, and this is the aortic arch. And the bulbus cordis, some part of the bulbus cordis, basically, bulbus cordis is lying adjacent to the developing ventricles. Some part of the bulbus cordis also grows towards the ventricles, and those that grow towards the right side forms the infundibulum of the right ventricle, and that which grows towards the left side will form the aortic vestibule of the left ventricle. So bulbus cordis also grows into the ventricles. On the right side it forms the infundibulum, and on the left side it forms the aortic vestibule.